Hey, everybody. It's like we're starting to let people in. Give it a minute. Hello, hello.
Oh,
Hey, hey. Excited to get started soon. We're letting everyone in. Thanks for being here. Love seeing the countries people are dialing in from. Feel free to type those in the chat if you like. Right.
see Nigeria, Argentina, a few
I
Canadians here.
love it. Ecuador, Nigeria, Netherlands, Portugal, Colombia, the great country of Los Angeles. Kidding. We have amazing. Very cool. Egypt, Kuwait, Bangladesh. Love this. So, everybody, are y'all ready to make some money for your projects and your business? I have a feeling that you are. Really, might as well get started. I'm Brandon. I am founder and CEO of Devpost. Again, I am just one person. I've run several businesses, including Devpost, where we power most hackathons. We're really fortunate to be working on this with XPRIZE and HackerFund and Google. And I know that there are about 10 days left. And so people are got some really great questions that came in when you signed up for this, and we've gone through them all. And we are going to address the most commonly asked ones, and then we'll go through the Q&A, which I believe has been turned on as well. So the chat is a great place for you to chat like you're doing right now. Love that. And then I guess as it goes, or maybe toward the end when we're in our Q&A session, feel free to ask them there however you want. I think we'll just jump right in. I'm gonna share the deck that I created, and we will get right to it. All right. So making money in the final stretch. Let's get right to it. This PowerPoint deck, or this deck, excuse me, is normally I just have like a few words for each bullet and then speak more to them. But we have a lot of people, and we're going to put this deck up, so it is a little bit longer and it has more information. I'll be reading some of it, but I'll be able to add more color. So. Okay. Before we start, there are 10 days left. The submissions are on the 17th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's time here, but we know people are all over the place. Just make sure that you have the deadline correct. It's very important. We don't allow late submissions, unless there are very specific reasons. So I just want to say that it's very sad being a contest platform and have seeing all the people that wait to the very last second, and then they just can't get it in on time. And then unfortunately, they've done this work and it can't be judged. That's really unfortunate, but we're here to be fair. And so if everybody else went by the rules, we just can't let you in. So please submit early. And on DevPost, you can submit multiple times. That's the same project. You can update that same submission. So I know there's some questions about, hey, if revenue comes in after I've already submitted, that's okay. If it's before the deadline, go back and resubmit with updated numbers. That's perfect. So 10 days left. Most of you who registered for this webinar, that doesn't necessarily mean the entire population, but most of you that registered for this webinar said that you had not earned revenue yet. So this is actually an opportunity for you because the competition requests that, which means those of you that can figure out how to earn revenue in the next 10 days will definitely be at an advantage to those that aren't. So I really, really hope that you start focusing on this now because there'll be a big jump from sort of one level of your submission to actually earning the revenue. So I'll answer the most common questions. Tess said you could add them to the chat. I want to be really clear though, we are not the judges. I know you have all these questions about, well, my business model X, or I did this, or what if my thing that does this, what's better? What do the judges want to see? Unfortunately, for all these competitions, we're not the judges. We do not determine who the winners are. There are judges and there will be finalist judges who have their own view of what each of these things are. So you should read the judging criteria because that's what they're going to read as well. And sort of imagine, what do you think that these judges might think? Now, we'll speak to some of that today and take you through some generalized principles about these things, but we can't answer very specific questions about yours, unfortunately. And then last, I just want to say I'm one guy. I've started like 3 companies and bootstrapped a lot of stuff. But you should take what I share today as really just potential advice from a guy that's done this before. I am not a judge. You may disagree with what I'm saying. That's fine too. We're just here to help as much as we can. Okay, let's get into it. What are we covering? Getting customers. That's key. That's what people want to know. How do you get them? Writing the email. So it can be more than emails. It can be calls. It can be in person. We hope it is. Video calls, etc. But writing an email, hugely important, particularly in an age of AI. Making AI do more. So what kind of decisions can it make for you and help you in these final days? The pricing. You definitely will want to have some ideas around pricing in mind. So I'll take you through a little bit of that. What does sustainable mean? Because the judges are looking at sustainable businesses here, as you can see from the judging criteria. So what does that mean? And then some additional questions that have come in, and hopefully there'll be more questions here by the end. So let's get right into it. Okay, here's 5 ways to get customers. There are many more. 1, charge the people already using it. A lot of people said they had people using their product as a free trial. That's great. That is amazing. It's time to try to charge them. So you might say, how will I do that? You can talk to them. Be trustworthy. Be human. Talk to them about the extra value that you can give them on top of the free offering. And work with them. People want to trust you. They want you to be human. Yes, this is a competition about leveraging AI, but that is in no way stating that AI replaces us being human. In general, humans we can make decisions based on trustworthiness, based on a lot of things that AI obviously can't do. And it's important to put that front and center when you're asking for someone for money. Second, go to 40 specific people. I think I've lowered this to 25, but 40 is a nice stretch goal. I'm going to take you through each of these. Go where people already complain about it. Sell it before it's finished, sort of. We're going to be clear about that. And find someone who already has your customers. So let's take you through each one. Charge them people who are using it. I already mentioned, a lot of you wrote in that there are free trials. Ask them directly, get a price. Give a price, give a date, and tell them the reason the trial is ending, and tell them the extra value that you can provide on top of that, the free trial. And how should you do the outreach? Should you send an email blast to everybody who's on it? No. Ideally in person, or a video call, or a phone call, and email you can use as well. But you want to be trusted, you want to be human. And so when you're doing that outreach, make sure that it is one person at a time, that you are not just copying and pasting a template, but that you know who that person is, you know what problem they have, and you want to add something on top of it that is worth their money. When people say no, that's a good learning experience. You should learn from that. You will absolutely, a no is good signal. You want to dig in. Why is it no? How else are you using? What other alternatives are you using so that you can improve your product for the next customer? We should say that the revenue from customers you already have, if you have an existing business, does not count. So that should be reported and the judges will take it out. It's the new customers that count. You can use existing social media audiences and lists and stuff, but if they've paid you before, you can't just add a new feature to your company and call it a new business. All right, earlier I said 40, that would be ideal, but I'm going to start with 25 plus specific people. Make a list of at least, I should get my numbers straight, 20 people or companies where you can point at proof that they have the problem you are solving. So this could be a public complaint on a job or a job posting, a tool they use, something that you see is manual and you are going to write privately to these individuals. I have a slide coming up about email best practices when it comes to selling. That's, I think, really important in our view. But you want to write to each one and be specific again. Be specific, be human, be concise, be trusted. Ask for 15 minutes of their time, or if you can solve the problem they have, somehow make a video of it, send it to them and say, hey, I saw that you had a problem about A, B, and C. I solved it for you, or this is how we go about doing, and I made a video for you. And then you speak to them or their name or their thing. That's personalized as well. That is going to get you those early customers when you really want to be doing those things that may not scale at first, but that have sort of a line into scalability down the road. So this process is repeatable at the numbers of 25. You can keep doing it this week and you can do it next week, all before the deadline. And just learn from each one and improve as you go. So I know it sounds simple, but literally make a list of 25 people based on your research, have AI help and search for it, and then go to those people by writing them something specific and individual. So writing the email. I call it the robot test. Like I know you have all received spam emails, and you can just tell in the first line that they don't know who you are or what you're talking about, or maybe they grabbed something from your LinkedIn that was really personal and strange. Like, oh, I saw that you run a hackathon company. Can you buy my vacuum cleaner? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. That type of writing is not going to be trusted. You can absolutely use AI to research and find for sales who the right people are and something interesting about them, and then decide, along with AI, what would actually be relevant for this person. But you want to say something that only you could say, that you really spent time looking and evaluating. Hey, I saw that you have a hackathon company. I participated in one last week. I really like this feature. Do you know that my database can save you time on your judging process or something like that? Be very specific to who they are. Don't just copy and paste and swap out the name of the person or the name of the company and blast it out there. That is not a great tactic, particularly but particularly at the beginning when you're trying to get those early customers and get that value from them. Keep it short. It should be a few sentences. The robot test means that I have written this and they know that it's human. If it's long and repetitive and you're cramming all kinds of information in there, they will know that it's just a newsletter or a copy and paste, and they'll delete before getting past the first line. Your subject line as well should be personalized. So you want to ensure that that subject line isn't just the name of your company, but focus on them, focus on the problem you're solving for them. Maybe put a question mark at the end so that, hey, I'm a human asking you a question, so that they'll open it up. The goal of the subject line is to get them to open it. The goal of the email is to be clear, concise, super short, personalized, human, trustworthy, and tell them exactly how you can help solve this thing that you know they have. Put an ask in there. You need to say, hey, can I talk to you or show you this for 15 minutes? Or here's a video I made. Can we talk about this? Don't be afraid to ask. And as I've mentioned, use AI. This competition is about leveraging AI to make decisions. There are so many decisions regarding that AI can help with in terms of streams of potential leads, in terms of researching them online and providing information for you in a succinct way. We talked about pricing. There's so much that AI can help you decide in terms of tiers. and you can embed those decisions into your software. Last is follow up. So yes, you have to make the ask, but actually most replies will come on the second note. So just a one-liner, hi, just reply, hi, just making sure that you got this. That's it, and hit send. So really, really important. If you do this stuff, you're gonna, in my view, have a much better chance of getting success. But this is not taking the place of in-person or phone calls or video calls. Okay. So that was about finding a list of people and sending them an email sort of privately or reaching out to them privately. But there's public boards that you can use and would highly suggest you do that. So this is the opposite of the last one. That was private. Here you show up in the public where people are already talking about the thing or the genre or the problem that you are solving or the impact area that you've decided to focus on for your business. That's communities, that's forums, that's comment sections, that's groups. Our community manager here at Devpost, Darlene, is on the line. She does this on a regular basis. You want to be involved in these communities the same way that you're all here in chat and that you're in our Discord or whatever. Like, be a part of a community, and doesn't have to be complain about it. It could be sure if they have a problem, but it could be that they have an interest in a similar area as what you're doing. And that, hey, by the way, you help solve this problem or you help streamline X or Y. You want to be an active contributor there, help solve people's problems, post stuff on social. You have to give in order to get. You want to be doing that. That comes back to being trusted and being human. And that is how you get your sales. Let me just say, like, people think salespeople are slimy or whatever. Like, not for anything that costs real money. Like, people don't, in my experience, buy from slimy people. Like, if you want to sell them something that costs a ton of money, like, they need to know exactly how it's going to help them. So you want to be consultative. Um, I think, I think I have this in a later bullet point, but people say, "Oh, I'm not a salesperson. I don't know how to do that stuff." Like, or I don't know, I don't love public speaking and these kinds of things. You don't have to. Some of the most successful salespeople are just solving problems. They're just consultative. Just help solve their problems and be nice and responsive, and that's perfect. You don't have to be a huge extrovert that loves presenting. So yeah, answer their questions. You don't have to give them a pitch. You can, but like you can help some people, and then, oh, by the way, I have this thing. I'm launching this business. It's a great way, to just be honest and human and trusted with this community. In my view, there's no better way to kickstart your company than hopping onto an existing community that already exists. You are piggybacking on an existing community, and so many companies have started that way. There's a lot of people there, and you jump in. If I had to pick one, I would say jump in there. I think you also have to, have direct outreach to people, especially with 10 days left, but at least do both. Okay. Several of you have asked how to grow with no marketing budget. I love this. It takes time, not money. So yes, your time is, costs money, but it does not mean you have to spend money to do this stuff, to be in communities, to find people, to research them, to leverage AI to do that, to be human, to be trusted, to be concise, to solve their problems, to give in order to get. That's not like a money thing. That's a human effort thing. That's a I care about my business thing. That's a passion thing. Do that stuff because that's what's going to get you those early customers, and talk to them and learn from them and ask them what would make them pay more or use more, or how would they suggest that you find more people like them. Give them a referral bonus, or hey, if you can tell any people, I'll give you a discount or something like that. You've seen these things, but they are all so much better when they're human. Okay, I want to be careful about this. This is sell if it's not fully finished. This does not mean make a fake hackathon project and then like go sell it yourself that doesn't leverage AI, etc. The judging criteria is clear about the sort of business viability. In fact, I'm pulling it up, and AI native operations. So teams must run their businesses through AI. Judges assess the extent to which AI is live in production and executes key decisions. Um, that is important. And you might say, oh, well, wait, you're telling me to be human, but you're telling me to use AI. Like, reconcile that for me. Yeah, this is an X prize. It's hard. It's not easy. But the truth is, AI can help you do so much. It can automate so much of the stuff that your users are doing in your product. And then it can enable a lot of the stuff that the humans are doing so that you can have the human touch enabled by AI. And then you can have so many other things automated. Um, and all of that is real. So what do I mean by sell it even if it's not fully finished? Um, it means that like there are real, honest examples of this that are out there all the time. Deposits. People can give you a deposit in advance because you need to know that there's maybe something that you need to build. Pilot fees, again, let's say you want to make a pilot or you're going to customize this for that customer and you need some money up front. So you can get some money from them to make it tailor it specifically for them, like a kind of consultative thing. And then you can sell that to other customers as well. You can have early customer pricing. You can have pre-sales. So this does not mean fake your project. You will definitely be disqualified and that will be ineligible. But we bring this up because there's a lot of people that get so protective of like their product. They don't want to release it to people. That's this last bullet point. And if you've heard anything from the Y Combinator folks or other incubators, they're very smart about business. So several of you have said you're stuck improving the product before showing anyone. I would show it. They say that if you're not embarrassed by your first version of your product, then you waited too long. So that's why this is here, because some people just feel protective and scared and don't want to, and I totally get it, and don't want to show people their product because they're embarrassed or they're afraid of failure. I think maybe the single advice that I can give everybody here is that there would be such a larger number of entrepreneurs if they could potentially overcome some of the fear of getting embarrassed or failing. And I know I'm not a shrink or a spiritual advisor here, but I'm definitely an entrepreneur. And I'm saying there's pride in trying something and it not working, and then you learning and then improving. Nobody is born walking. You have to stumble and fall along the way. And it's the same thing with this stuff. So don't hold it in. Show it to people, learn from the real people. Don't be overly protective about it. And you'll learn way faster because you'll show it to someone and they'll say, oh, this is amazing, something you're really embarrassed or scared about. They'll like love that. And they'll point out something else to you you never even thought about, and you'll be able to fix that. That will happen almost certain. So just start showing it to people and let them know. That's a key advice here. In terms of selling it, yeah, like you do not want to sell something that you can't deliver on. That is absolutely not the case. But there are established versions of pre-sales or pilot fees. Okay. Um, Find someone who already has your customers. So this is called like the channel. You may have heard of channel sales. That is when somebody else sort of sells your stuff because they are selling a bunch of products to a customer, and then you give it to them and they take a cut. With 10 days left, it might be tough, but it's worth thinking about in more abstract terms too, which is find a company that already serves the people that you want to serve and who's not a direct competitor. So maybe they're selling something complementary, and then offer them something specific, a cut of the revenue, or hey, their members get a free tier also, plus the paid tier, or it gets branded with their name on it. And this can help you scale and grow because they already have an existing customer base. So while no, you can't sell to your same customers, maybe there's a channel you can find that can help. So there's a catch. You don't control that company. You don't control their timing or their calendar. 10 days is soon, but it's worth a conversation. And if you have anything to show from those conversations, add them into your project. Um, so, okay, so that's 5 ways. I do want to talk about ads because there were a lot of questions about this. Advertising can work. I am not an advertising expert. You should not listen to me as an ad expert at all. I've definitely lost money on ads before. I would say plenty of businesses are built on ads, of course, and they can be very successful, but it is not easy and it takes time to tune. So one of you wrote that you ran ads in July and made no sales. Another wrote that the platform was spending the ad platform was spending the budget on the wrong places. Yes. So we are not giving you advice one way or the other. We do not want to influence what you're doing in terms of you should or you shouldn't do this. But I think it's a fair bit of advice to say, if you've run ads before and you're good at it and you know what you're doing, great. And if you've not and you're starting out and you have 10 days left, you may decide that some of these other methods are worth more of your time because they're human. You're being trusted. You're not just spraying and praying, as they say. So either way, whatever you spend getting customers, you should report that on the form. Okay. So AI, I've talked about this a lot. There is a piece about, as I read, the AI native operations. This is on the homepage of the competition where the three judging criteria are listed. Teams must run their businesses through AI. Judges assess the extent to which AI is live in production and executes key decisions. So, there's a couple ways of AI working with you. There's AI assisting and enabling, where it's doing drafts and summaries and suggestions, and a person checks it. You may find that for certain things like customer outreach, that might be better for you in some ways. And then there's AI deciding, and that's where it makes the call on it. It makes the decision on that. And so we're not telling you which to do where, but it is something to think about. So examples of decisions that a business makes over and over, it could be pricing a quote, it could be handling a support request, it could be picking who to contact, researching them. It can be writing them too, if you feel that you have a really good sequence down that is trusted. So let's move on. Pricing. So there were some questions about pricing. Yeah, pricing's hard. It's very complex. There are many, probably endless numbers of dissertations about pricing. I'm certainly not going to sort of give you an expert lesson in it here in a few minutes, but basically with 10 days left, if you don't have one, pick a price. The best thing to do is talk to people. Spreadsheets, yeah, okay, but you want to do comparative research. What do other people like you kind of charge? What are people in your area used to paying? But then talk to people. Ask them, what do you think of this price? Now, it's not as good as them paying you that amount. A lot of people say, sure, I'd pay that. Then when you give them the product and charge them, it's hard getting it. But that kind of research is still helpful, along with all the other research that, you might want, all the other information you might want to know from them. So you do want to match how you charge to how they got value. At least that's my advice. Again, I'm not a judge, but just as a business person, if there's ongoing value that you're giving them every day, week, month, etc., then you could charge monthly, and that would probably be more of a subscription type of thing, which some might consider easier in some ways because you don't have to keep selling the same people over and over and over again. But if it's occasional value, you would charge per use potentially. And if it's a big job, you could just charge a project fee. There are a lot of ways. I mean, it can be ad driven. There are many other models. I would definitely see what you think is most common for customers paying for similar stuff that you offer. Also in terms of this being a sustainable business, and that I'll read you that judging criteria: business viability. Teams must launch a real business during the hackathon, acquire real users, and generate real revenue. Again, if you can just generate real revenue, you're going to jump up from anybody here who hasn't yet done it yet. Judges assess both actual revenue achieved during the 90-day window and the sustainability of the underlying business model. So how sustainable is it? And I'm not going to tell you exactly, but I do have some questions that you can kind of ask yourself about that. So anyway, know what the customer costs you to serve. If you are going to charge not enough to cover your costs, then perhaps judges may think that that's not as sustainable. I'm not speaking for them, but that might be something that they might determine. Free trials are a tool, not a strategy. If you use one, consider an upgrade path soon. So if you're already doing that free trial, we spoke about this earlier, look at charging soon. And also really important, there is room on the submission form to explain your situation in the context. Every business is different. Share your situation, concisely and, not a million words, but you should definitely share it. Okay. So mention sustainability. Once you have a customer, I know some of you already have customers, although the majority of you on this webinar don't. You might ask, if you got that customer, however you got them, could you do the same thing again next week? Is it repeatable? And if so, and if you're able to do that, that might be an example of how it's sustainable potentially. So you may have found something repeatable, keep going, see if it grows. If not, that's okay too. You will have revenue, you should report it, and you have a customer that you can learn from. The judging criteria is asking the judges to look at the business, the overall thing, not just the dollar amount. Okay. Questions worth asking yourself, because again, I'm not a judge, nor have I spoken with the judges, and nor can I speak for them. If a judge cannot tell how you would get your next 10 customers, for example, does the project read as more durable or less? So explaining the how and the why is going to be most likely beneficial to your project. If it cost you more to get a customer than the customer paid you, what does that say about the model? And can you explain why that's the case? If the hackathon ended, say today, meaning the submission deadline, and you kept going, what would that first week look like? What would it require to keep going? So these are questions to maybe ask yourself about after you have that first customer, or as you're going for that first customer, the sustainability aspect. So can you sell to that? Can that same customer buy the same thing each month? Or can you learn about other customers from them? Do you feel that that thing that you did to get that customer is repeatable? Okay. Some specifics on the rules and stuff. What counts as a new business? So a restaurant cannot release a new menu item, and an app cannot release a new feature and call it a new business. You do not need a new legal entity. You can use an existing one for incorporation purposes. You may use existing social or email audience, existing employees, and generic templates, frameworks, and code snippets. So just very general stuff. But again, that's just like the whole goal here is it's a new offering, but we don't want everybody to just have to go register some new entity and waste time on that if they have one. If you use employees from an existing entity, you have to attest that the work started during the hackathon period, because this should be fair to other people. Revenue from customers you already had is reported separately, and judges will remove it from consideration. So again, that will be removed. And the full language there is in the rules and on the FAQ page. I would read it. Okay. There were more questions than the ones that we covered. I'm going to go through some of them now. Is there a minimum revenue or customer count? The rules do not specify a minimum. Does more revenue automatically mean a higher score? Business viability looks at revenue and durability together, and it is one of 3 equally weighted criteria. Do bank transfers or QR payments count? No specific payment tooling is outlined or required in the rules. Does revenue after I submit count? Report what was earned during the hackathon period. Once the hackathon ends, that's when the judging that data will be used for the judging. You should keep working on your business, of course, but that's what it will be judged. Can I still get Google credits? There is an affordability coupon application linked in the FAQ, and that is subject to review. So, and I believe this is the last slide here, and then we can get to some of the questions in the FAQ. But when this call ends, consider some of the following, which is a summary of some of the stuff we've gone over. Write down the name of every person or organization who's used your product already and ask them to pay. Make a list of 25 named people who have the problem or are good potential leads and write to 5 of them in the next 24 hours. Consider that. Find where your customers already talk about the problem publicly and answer 2 questions there in full, including how you may solve that problem. Give them in order to get. Offer someone a pilot or a deposit for the result that you are going to deliver. Excuse me, offer one person a pilot or have them give you a deposit for the result that you are going to deliver. So what I mean there is, let's say that you find somebody, tell them about how you do it. And if they say yes, get a deposit from them to build a pilot for them. Look at where AI sits in your operations and gather the evidence of it running. And use AI and leverage AI and tell us how you are using it. And don't forget to be human, to be trusted. And that's how you'll have a better chance of making money. So thanks, everybody. Hope you didn't mind my 35-minute monologue. Okay. I'm checking a couple places. I'm checking the chat. Looks like good. People heard me and stuff. Now I'm going to scroll through some of let me stop sharing. Great. Let me just scroll through some of the Q&A and see if there's any others that make sense to answer here. Okay. Trying to find one that is good that I haven't covered.
You can try filtering by most upvotes. I think there's
Oh,
2 with
cool.
at least 1 vote.
Oh, thank you. Okay, great. What if we have acquired one customer, small business to use what we build, which is a big front for our type of business, but at first it will be a slow growth to acquire more. Should we add projected growth or a plan on or want to acquire next? Okay. I think what we mean here is, so you've got one customer, so that's great. Obviously you want to report that. And in terms of the P&L, that should the one that you have to fill out, that is going to be for what you have actually made, what you have actually earned. But you can absolutely talk about any projections that you have and sure. So I don't know if I answer that 100%, but I would say the best way to show potential growth could be to not just work with that one customer, but turn that into something potentially repeatable with a second customer. That might be something that you could do. Again, I don't want to speak on behalf of the judges. I'm just saying that more evidence of being able to expand is likely better. Okay. Just see here. Looks at team. I think I'll just scroll down and find some here. Yeah, I'm saddened slightly because I know everybody has a very specific case and really wants, an answer to their specific thing, and I get it. Trying to find stuff that's generalizable. Where are others hosting their files? Can we talk to Brandon directly? That's a good question, actually. Thank you. I'm here right now. But I don't think that I'll be giving specific advice to just one person or whatever, because that wouldn't be fair. Are prototypes allowed? Yeah, so your project is your business, right? So clearly some of them are going to be in less finished states than others. Absolutely. Do it. Um, just also remember that everybody here had the same amount of time. So there's a fairness aspect there and that you all had that same amount of time. It's true, some of you may have found out about it later, but it is a really short period of time. So does everybody else. So just go for it. Go for it. Put your head down and let's see what else. I have two products. Yeah. If my AI makes decisions that users commit to, does it fit? I mean, I think that's great if AI is doing that. If you're saying, does it count as revenue? No, there would need to be contract or money, that sort of thing for it to be official. They can't just say click on a button, but for all kinds of other decisions, sure. Okay, if I already have users but little or no revenue, what is the strongest way to present traction to judges without making the project look pre-revenue or unvalidated? Well, I mean, hopefully this whole thing is about how to go get that revenue. So you want to get that revenue. That's important. Uh, so you should go get a customer. And I would encourage people here to spend the next 10 days going to do that. That's going to be really important. If I were in your position, just speaking for myself, and I had a pretty finished product, but certainly could work on it more, but enough to be able to work and help solve problems for customers, I would spend most of my time selling it in marketing, get those customers, and do the kinds of things that we've talked about here today. It's not about just sort of how to make it look good for people, but if you have revenue, then you or either way show the situation. Here's my plan. Here's the proof that I have for that plan. But I would spend more of your time going to get it, going to get that money. This is not just a build a hackathon. This hackathon is meant to build and sell. That is the whole purpose of it. That is what the Peter Diamandis from XPRIZE wanted when he came up with the idea and more. Don't want to speak for him, but he's been very clear that that's what it's about. It's about making an impact by leveraging AI and actually a real business that can drive revenue. Um, Is there a preference of B2B over B2C? Absolutely no individual preference. I mean, I can't speak to any of the judges in particular, but wanting all kinds of organizations does not have to just be businesses selling to businesses. It could be, or businesses selling to consumers or B2B to C or whatever. I'm going to spend a few more minutes trying to find some good ones here. And when I say good, they're all good, but I mean in terms of ones that might be applicable to everybody. No team, AI only. Okay. Yeah, I don't, there is no requirement to have more than one person at all. It can be you. Uh, you get judged based on our marketing strategy also is the question. Well, great question. The judging criteria, I just want to read it for everybody, is the AI native operations piece, the impact on the category, and the business viability. And it is that simple. Teams must launch a real business during the hackathon, acquire real users, and generate real revenue. Judges assess both actual revenue achieved during the 90-day window and the sustainability of the underlying business model. So if you believe that the marketing strategy or thoughts on how to acquire customers is relevant for um, assessing the sustainability of the business, then do it. I certainly would encourage it. Anything, I would encourage anything that speaks to the judging criteria. Let's see, maybe one more. This product isn't available in Bangladesh. Stripe, I'm using Paddle for subscriptions. Paddle revenue evidence acceptable instead of Stripe, right? So there's not a specific payment gateway or service that is required. You use what you like and provide the evidence as it's asked for. Um, a question here about like how much AI sort of their product should have. And I think this will be the last question that I answer. So there is that there is that third judging criteria about AI native operations. And I'm going to read it. And yeah, sorry to be like, the person that pulls out the paper and reads the statement every time, but it's true. So teams must run their business through AI. Judges assess the extent to which AI is live in production and executes key decisions. So that does not mean that there isn't a place for humans. But so if you're thinking about it, I would explain how does the AI execute key decisions for you? Um, and answer all those questions that are in there. Well, I am sorry that I have not been able to answer all of these questions. And I know that this recording, I'm sure, will be shared. And I want to thank everybody very much for participating. And I want to wish you a lot of luck, but more than luck, I want to wish you the determination, the drive to go make this happen, to not be afraid, to not be scared of people rejecting you. I know that asking people for money is hard. Don't ask them for money and cry that. Solve a problem and tell them what it might cost so that you can, you know, do your thing, make this sustainable, be a successful small business, and eventually medium and large one if you want. Don't be afraid. Go for it. Like I said, in order to walk, you got to stumble. You got to take that first step. Uh, I know that's hard, but you can do it, and it will pay off, not just here, but in all things. Thank you so much for your time, and really, really, really excited to be looking at your projects. Everybody have a great, great weekend.